Sabah Khair, good morning. My name is Niranjan. I am representing Dr. Rola, Dashti, the Executive Secretary and Under Secretary General with ESCWA. She sends her greetings and apologies for not being present physically here, but it's an honor to be present for me among you. It's a great pleasure to join the forum, this timely conversation on how we support our economies and banking systems in times of crisis. So, Excellencies and distinguished guests, your agenda aligns directly with the Sevilla commitment adopted just a few months ago at the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development. It calls on all of us to tackle debt challenges and to scale sustainable finance through innovative financing mechanisms, crowding in private capital, and strengthening crisis response architecture. In our Arab region, banks are pivotal to turning those global pledges into investable projects at home. Let me briefly frame the region's debt and fiscal reality, drawing on ESCWA's Debt and Fiscal Outlook report recently released. Three things. One, the region's debt is reaching critical levels. Regional public debt is nearing 1.6 trillion in 2024. The middle-income countries of the region carry about 850 billion, roughly 70% of their aggregate GDP. In some cases, it's beyond 90% of their GDP. The debt in GCC is also increasing significantly. It rose from 9% of GDP in 2024 to 32% of GDP in 2020. In the decade 2014 to 2024, it increased from 9% to 32%. So some least developed countries are in debt distress, including those affected by conflict. Number two, its financing is becoming costlier and tighter fiscal space. External borrowing has shifted toward private creditors away from concessional sources, especially for middle and low-income countries. For the middle-income countries, external debt service has more than doubled and has reached about 15% of revenues by 2023, and it's going to stay that elevated until 2027. Number three, flat growth and rising debt burdens. Real per capita GDP has been broadly flat in the region on an average about $7,000 in real terms for a decade, while real per capita debt has soared something like 78% over time and the same period. And that's a warning on intergenerational risk and fiscal pressure. So amid this, banking sector resilience has anchored funds assistance programs across our region, pairing macro reforms with financial sector consolidation measures, as we have seen in countries like in Egypt, in Jordan. This work must continue, but at the same time, stabilization without essential social services and social protection is incomplete. In crisis, targeted cash transfer programs have proven essential to prevent reversals in human development. Cash transfer programs such as in Jordan's National Aid Fund or Lebanon's Aman program, Yemen's emergency programs are essential to protect people and sustain reform credibility. We have also global lessons from the 2023 banking turmoil, including those in Silicon Valley banks in the US or the credit suisse in Europe. They are clear. Manage interest rate and liquidity risks rigorously. Curb reliance on flight-prone deposits and ensure resolution readiness. So these are practical checklists for supervisors and board members, not in theory only. Our region has specific vulnerabilities as well. Large bank holdings of domestic government debt amplify shocks between the fiscal and financial spheres. Breaking the sovereign and bank feedback loopholes requires medium-term fiscal anchors, diversified bank asset mixes, and deep local capital markets. Banks are not only the backbone of financial stability in our region, but they are also engines of climate and SDG investment. Allow me to highlight 5 priorities for the banks in our region. One, strengthen risk management. As recent global crises have shown, resilience requires robust stress testing, interest rate risk monitoring, and liquidity planning. Number two, build regulatory flexibility. Stronger deposit insurance and credible resolution frameworks are needed to ensure swift and decisive action at the time of shocks. Number four, rethink business models. From passive intermediation to catalytic finance, mobilizing private capital, taking fast risk positions in blended structures, and backing national and regional priorities in line with civilian commitment. Diversifying funding sources and asset bases is important. Over-reliance on sovereign debt or concentrated lending is no longer sustainable. And number five, embrace innovative financing instruments such as scaling up green bonds, other thematic bonds, and climate action debt for development swaps that enhance fiscal space for credible, sustainable development projects. Progress is visible in recent years in several countries, including Egypt issuing green and samurai bonds, UAE developing corporate green bonds, Oman, Iraq setting sustainable financing frameworks. So these are important developments, but there are significant capacity gaps across countries that must be addressed. ESCWA is stepping up. ESCWA is helping countries to strengthen statistics, reporting, regulatory readiness, prepare pipeline of projects in a country platform approach for accessing innovative financing instruments, and appropriate de-risking mechanisms that crowd in private capital. Our support is to improve country preparedness so that sovereigns, public banks, and corporates can access these instruments at scale and at better terms. We foster regional coordination to develop debt optimization strategies through the Arab Debt Management Group network, where the Union of Arab Banks is an active partner. And we look forward to continuing this collaboration. Distinguished colleagues and friends, challenges to persist from Lebanon's unresolved crisis and currency pressures elsewhere to sectoral exposures, climate-related vulnerabilities, or conflicts. Yet, Arab banks need to step up. They need to be catalytic in bridging liquidity, climate finance, and investment gaps by scaling instruments that de-risk and crowd in private capital. The way forward is clear: align bank strategies with national priorities and deliver on the civilian commitment to strengthen stability and finance sustainable development at scale. Let us seize this moment to position Arab banks as engines of resilience, inclusion, and prosperity. Thank you.